Imagine that you're walking down the sidewalk on a fine Sunday morning with your best friend and he says, "Look over there, Mark Zuckerberg." What would you expect to see? Zuckerberg wearing a limited edition Gucci and driving a Bugatti Veyron down the street? I mean, after all, he is a multi-billionaire and the 5th richest person in the world. Also looks like a robot sometimes. Well, sorry to disappoint you, but you won't see anything out of the ordinary that would look like it can only belong exclusively to a billionaire. There is a high probability that you would only catch the sight of Mr. Zuckerberg driving around his $30,000 Honda Fit hatchback and wearing a simple gray shirt, blue jeans, and sneakers that you can afford too. Or can you? Keep watching to find that part out. So you might just be wondering, what in the hell does the Facebook of CEO do with all those dollars that he earns from spying on us and taking all of our information? Well, let's dive into it. Our first entry is real estate. It's not free real estate this time. Considering the immense amount of wealth he's amassed over the years, the money he forks out for paid-for real estate is relatively modest. Now, a $10 million mansion is a big deal, but is it so for a person whose net worth is about $114 billion? Unlike most other billionaires out there like Mukesh Ambani, who lives in a billion-dollar mansion, Renat Akhmatov, who owns a $193 million abode, and Stanley Kroenke, whose ranch is worth around $132.5 million, Mark Zuckerberg was content with a house in San Francisco on which he spent a humble $10 million for purchasing it. He also spent about another $1 million on its renovation. But it's said that he overpaid for the property because according to the sources, the property should have been valued at only $3 million at the most. I guess that just proves how down-to-earth the social media mogul is. That or he just doesn't read the price tag. He bought the 5,500 square foot property in 2013, and Zuckerberg and his family, which consists of his wife Priscilla Chan and their 2 daughters, Maxima and August, have 4 bedrooms of themselves in that house. He's also shown to be a pretty big plant lover, as in that mansion he also has a greenhouse. Later in this video you'll also find out that his love for Mother Nature is even bigger. Only 35 miles away from his San Francisco home is another house of his. Situated in Palo Alto, also known as Silicon Valley, California, Mark and his family have access to 5 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms, which are spread over a sprawling 9,800 square feet. This house is also a kind of smart house thanks to the assistant Jarvis. For acquiring this property, Zuckerberg had to spend around $7 million. That amount is not even a dent in his pocket. Plus, he spent a whopping $43 million to buy the neighboring surrounding houses. Not really sure what happened there, but I guess the neighbors did not value the Zuckerberg's privacy, so he got rid of them. Would you want to be his neighbor? Remember when I said that Zuckerberg is an avid lover of Mother Nature? Now you'll get to know why. We often hear about insanely wealthy people buying whole islands, like Sir Richard Branson buying the Necker Island in the 1970s for $200,000, and Larry Ellison buying the Lanai Islands in Hawaii for $300 million. We aren't gonna stop there though. We also have John Malone buying the Samson Cay in the Bahamas, Bill Gates buying the Grand Bouquet, and many, many more, including Nicolas Cage buying one. Well, whatever motives they would have had when they made these purchases, one thing is clear, that whenever Zuckerberg buys a large chunk of land, his motive is to enjoy the Mother Nature. Let me explain. He bought a whopping 700 acres of land in 2014 in the Kauai Islands of Hawaii. A few years later, he purchased more land there, an additional 600 acres, which brought the total area of land under Mark Zuckerberg to around 1,300 acres. The land is decorated with white sand beaches, water, and large stretches of plain old land. According to him, he bought the area just to ensure that its natural habitat and environment remains preserved, and nobody exploits the area for the sake of economy and industrialization. Zuckerberg spent around 0.13% of his net worth for this humane cause, which amounts to a jaw-dropping $150 million. Mark can also, of course, spend some really good quality time with his family and his pulley dog, Beast, in this beautiful and peaceful place. That's what I call $100 million spent wisely. It's better than donating $100 million for, say, promoting afforestation, because many times the donated money comes in the hands of some corrupt person. We'll see in the future if Mr. Zuckerberg actually does buy any more land for the benefit of Mother Nature. Fun fact as well, Beast the dog has over 2 million followers on Facebook. How many do you have? That's like 2 million and one more than me, because I don't really have a Facebook anymore. In addition to the 3 properties which I mentioned earlier, the Facebook mogul spent a hefty sum of $59 million to buy some estates on the shores of Lake Tahoe in Tahoe City, California. The Brushwood and Carousel estates will make you blink hard and open your mouth wide. The Carousel estate alone covers an area of 3.5 acres and is equipped with 8 bedrooms, 9 full bathrooms, and 1 half bathroom. The Brushwood estate, which had a bigger share in the sum of $59 million, also has a bigger area. It's spread over an area of 6 acres and has 6 bedrooms, 5 full bathrooms, and 2 half bathrooms. I have 1.5 bathrooms. I think I'm pretty impressive. Our next entry is transportation. When I say that Zuckerberg is not a car enthusiast, I don't mean in any way that he cannot buy a supercar for himself. Maybe sometimes he wants a little extra attention from the public on the streets when he's driving, and his Honda Fit or Volkswagen Golf GTI surely cannot provide that. So, he must have thought it'd be a great idea to invest in $1.3 million in a Pagani Huayra. Its 720 HP twin-turbo engine and butterfly-style doors is guaranteed to provide him with that little bit of extra attention and speed. Personally, I don't think that Zuckerberg would ever have had to hit the gas in the Pagani Huayra very hard. Honestly, it is pretty funny to think of Mark Zuckerberg, a very intense look in his eye, going past with the Pagani at 150 miles per hour down the highway. Sometimes a relaxing journey across the seas with your family and friends is all you want when you're the CEO of Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg had already made the arrangements for such a journey back in 2017 when he bought the Ulysses yacht for $150 million from Norwegian billionaire Graham Hart. You know, just a normal transaction between two billionaires. Zuckerberg can invite 30 guests for an awesome cruise journey. The guests can enjoy swimming in the pool, playing billiards in the game room, watching plays at the theater, and relaxing in the luxurious private suites. Ulysses also has a helicopter hangar. It's also said that the Ulysses can sail halfway around the Earth without the need for refueling. So he can now travel by road and by water in the most stylish and luxurious of ways. However, that doesn't account for air travel. Well, as it turns out, Mark has got that sorted out as well. He spends a sum of around $3 million annually on his private air travels. His private jet is worth $67 million. For a person of Mark's stature, it makes complete sense as to why he would need private jets, because in addition to providing comfort, it also provides security. Also probably looks pretty good when he lands. Our next entry is Philanthropy. Love him or hate him, or not even know he's watching you, Mark Zuckerberg loves to serve the society. He and his wife Priscilla established the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative on the first day of December 2015. Its aim is to build a more inclusive, just, and healthy future for everyone, and to advance human potential and promote equality in areas such as health, education, scientific research, and energy to make the world a better place. That is one mouthful of an advertisement right there. Zuckerberg also signed the Giving Pledge, by which he clarified his intentions of giving away 99% of his fortune to the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative over the course of his lifetime. Besides, in 2017, Zuckerberg pledged to fund $6 billion to $12 billion towards the initiative over the next few years. This down-to-earth billionaire really does use his dollars in some of the best ways possible. In 2010, the Facebook CEO also donated around $100 million to the Newark Public Schools. Another multi-million-dollar donation occurred in December of 2013 when Zuckerberg donated 18 million shares of Facebook to the Silicon Valley Community Foundation. Those shares had an estimated valuation of around $999 million at that time. In yet another philanthropic move in the year 2014, the Zuckerberg duo provided a support case of $25 million to deal with the Ebola virus epidemic in Africa. In addition to the Clan Zuckerberg initiative, Mark and Priscilla also created the Chan Zuckerberg Biohub. Like husband, like wife. The aim of the Biohub is to facilitate world-class research for finding cures of infectious diseases. The Biohub was established with an investment of about $600 million. No doubt that Mark Zuckerberg and his wife are leading the annual list of 50 most generous Americans of the Chronicle of Philanthropy for the year 2013. Our last entry is fashion. Mark Zuckerberg's version of fashion is a bit different than that of ours. His wardrobe probably has only t-shirts in various shades of gray, blue jeans, sneakers, and gray hoodies. I prefer a little darker colors in mine personally. You might have already come to the conclusion that he has a cheap wardrobe collection, but you can't be further from the truth. The simple-looking gray t-shirts cost $400 each. Wait a minute, why? I get those at Walmart for $5. Well, apparently the billionaire doesn't just go out to any clothing store and buy some great t-shirts. He specially orders them from Brunello Cucinelli. When asked about as to why he prefers to put on the same type of clothes every day, he answered in a most respect-worthy way. Here's the epic response. I really want to clear my life to make it so that I have to make as few decisions as possible about anything except how to best serve this community. I'm in this really lucky position where I get to wake up every day and help serve more than 1 billion people, and I feel like I'm not doing my job if I spend any of my energy on things that are silly or frivolous about my life. In other words, he wears the same outfit every day just to not think about what to wear. You know, I said that was our last, but here's a little bonus. Just to manage his social media accounts and keep Facebook in a good light by addressing controversies and speculations related to it. Over $1 million are spent on just 12 professionals who excel in branding, social media, and marketing each year, and they really are dedicated to manage and grow the goodwill of Facebook. And in the year 2020, his personal security costs a staggering $23 million. And what do the security teams have to do? Well, it's kinda simple actually. They only had to protect Mark Zuckerberg, Priscilla Chan Zuckerberg, Maxima Chan Zuckerberg, August Zuckerberg, and all of his big real estate locations 24/7. That makes more sense though, considering the fact that he is literally the 5th richest person on the planet and one of the most controversial CEOs in the world. Especially after the very infamous Cambridge Analytica incident, in which around 90 million Facebook users' accounts were psychologically profiled and put to use to influence their political decisions. But let's not forget about his philanthropy and his overall service to society, which, according to him, are the primary reasons for his clothing styles. So, friends, now you know how the billionaire code writer fans his billions of Benjamins. Tell us how you'd spend your money if you got a hold of $1 billion worth. Also, buying a whole bunch of t-shirts does not count. With that said, I'll see you all in the next video. Later, everybody.